This is just hogwash.
The Cowboys are a drama, a controversy in a football setting. This offseason has been what it usually is for the Cowboys. NF.
It's the same old, same old. That's all this is. And you guys listen to the press conference. He was going on and on about Brian Schottenheimer's deference to head coaches he's been around.
That was so weird.
Everything was deferent. He's deferred to coach. He's deferred. And this is not even against Brian Schottenheimer.
Correct.
But one of the things Jerry wants, and maybe the key thing he wanted from Schottenheimer or his next coach, was deference. So Schottenheimer's not going to have any problem with Jerry holding court outside of the locker room after the game, Jerry being the face of the franchise. It's the same old, same old. And Dak was there and some other players, and that's a great vote of support by Dak to be there. He's cheesing from ear to ear because he knows nothing's changing. This is the guy I've been working with this year. Nothing's going to change, all right? And so he'll be comfortable, but that's the problem. Nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same old thing. Mike McCarthy's not a terrible coach, not a bad coach. Schottenheimer, at best, will be a lot of what you've already gotten with Schottenheimer. And this was risk. Every coaching hire is a risk. If they had hired Ben Johnson, it'd have been a risk because he's never been a head coach either. But the risk would have been to go get Deion Sanders, not from a football perspective, but from a perspective of he's going to come in and change the culture. He's going to come in and be the face of the franchise. This is going to be a whole different thing than it's been for the last 30 years here. This was safe, and it's going to be a lot more of the same. And they're going to struggle. I'm not making my pick yet, but in that division, Philadelphia, unless they're completely knocked over by a Super Bowl slump if they lose, Washington's going to be there. You got the NFC North still going to be there. You're going to get at least two teams. You're not getting three out of the NFC East. And so they're going to struggle to make the playoffs. I'm saying that right now. A few years ago, I was a big Javonte Williams fan.
You were?
Yeah. I mean, privately. Inside. Like, no, I liked it.
We didn't really talk about it.
We didn't talk much the Broncos on this show. I mean, we talked Russ. We ripped, you ripped Russ. But I was thinking inside. Javonte. No, and when,
around the dinner table.
I think, though, when Russ went, I was like, they got Javonte Williams. Like, I liked what I saw. But the prop, that was a few years ago. And what he do? He had the knee injury, right? And he hasn't been the same since. He hasn't averaged 4 yards a carry. He's been like 3.7 in the last two seasons. So this is your big, signing. I don't know if he still has it to the level that he did. And then I'm going to throw in the fact that you still have not paid Micah Parsons. And all that means is when you could have got him for $35 million, $36 million, heck. I don't want to say it's going to be closer to $45 million.
Well worn.
But I'm just saying, look, I'm sorry. And you're watching Washington. We know what Philly is. You're watching Washington improve. Had a great year last year, the Commanders. And then this offseason, they are going for it. And you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs.
They also got a new coach. Usually give a new coach.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You didn't even look at Bill Belichick. You didn't even look at Deion Sanders. Hey, you didn't even look at Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson. You just promoted a guy. And look, maybe Brian Schottenheimer will be great. But from my vantage point, this offseason has been what it usually is for the Cowboys. NF.
We want Brou's grade on the Cowboys, but then, Jeff, we have to address the fact that you said that's a fun feeling. That I've never taken the love of football from a man before. But that is a legit thing that you guys do?
We came here in 2009. The Panthers did to play the Giants. It was a final game in the Meadowlands for the Giants. We won 41-9. That's their life drained from the defense. We rushed for like 300 yards. It was one of the coolest, because our job is hard as offensive linemen. You don't get the opportunity very often to feel that way, especially in the NFL. I mean, it's not going to happen as much as he thinks, I would imagine. But you can sense when defensive linemen are done for the day.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That may affect your grade.
No, it's a cute clip. I was clear yesterday.
What?
That I wanted either a running back, and Omarion Hampton was still on the board. Great pick by the Chargers, by the way. He was on the board. There were a few receivers. I like Matthew Golden.
A few receivers.
Micah wanted Tet McMillan just to back you up a bit before. So he's when this pick came in, he seemed disappointed.
Yeah.
Left go tried to like clean it up for him, and then he's like, "No, I was just wanted." He's like, "I love the player. I just wanted it on my side of the ball." But four picks earlier,
he wanted
right? Four picks earlier when Tet went, he was like, "Man, I thought we were gonna get him." Just
Left go's got a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't like it.
Can I change?
I love it! I love it! This is an A, baby! This is an A!
I was worried.
Because you know, Jeff, look, you know better than me. I am hard on the Cowboys, but one thing they do well is draft offensive linemen.
That's
first round.
Zach Martin, yes. I mean, they got a bunch of Hall of Famers. Tyler Smith's good. Like, this guy, you got to have a line to run the football.
There we go.
And look, I know I ripped him a little bit tongue-in-cheek last year. Rico Dowdle, I don't know if that might have been a mistake to let him go.
Oh, now you like Rico Dowdle.
Four of the last 6 games he had 100. Right. We'll see if Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams have anything left in them, but the line's going to be good. I love this pick. I give the Cowboys credit, and I felt as a non-football player the same way Micah did. That quote was awesome. That just makes you want to, I can't wait till this guy gets on the field.
Don't refer to yourself as a non-football player, by the way.
Decades ago, high school.
What grade are you giving the Cowboys for this transaction?
Well, look, I love it on paper. I think he's a phenomenal number 2 because he has the talent of a number 1. So with CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be great. But 2 words, contract year. He's in the contract year. It's reported that Cowboys aren't going to re-up him now, which isn't surprising. So he's in the contract year. That could be good in that he has to go out there and have a great season because he wants the bag next year, right? Mm-hmm. So he plays great. Or it could be bad if he doesn't get the number of targets he wants to put up those phenomenal numbers. And then he starts pouting and all of that. And when you look, so I'm giving it a B. I got more to say. I'm giving it a B because I think it's great on paper, but there's a lot of questions. And these are my other questions. The guys that have left the Steelers, like Mike Tomlin is great at handling these tough personalities, right?
Yeah.
And the guys that have left the Steelers, whenever Tomlin's like, you know what, it's time for him to move on, they don't ball out elsewhere. Antonio Brown, great with the Steelers. We know he won the Super Bowl with Brady. He played 8 games, but never played another full season for another team. And he was young when he left. Le'Veon Bell, a running back, but still was on maybe a Hall of Fame trajectory. Had made two all NFL teams, first team. Never did anything without them. Chase Claypool isn't even in the league. Now, he wasn't on those guys' level, but he was productive for the Steelers. Not even in the league. Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I mean, guys. So I could go even back to Santonio Holmes, who was never as good elsewhere as he was in Pittsburgh. So I just think the Cowboys, Pickens could be problematic elsewhere, off the field. So I'm going to give it a B because he is talented. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and when he says the Dak is still in the developmental phase, hopefully he means as far as the tweaks they're making, as far as them trying to get him on the same page with George Pickens and all of that. Like, he can certainly improve. Like, Schottenheimer's right on that. No quarterback is ever to the point where it's like you can't keep improving. All right, so I think with Dak, the most improvement has to be between the ears. Not getting tight in big moments. We've seen that in the playoffs. And Greg Jennings talked about this, throwing the ball to Pickens when it doesn't look like he's open. Because Pickens can go get those 50-50 balls at a high rate. And so Dak's never really done that, though. That would be improvement. And maybe that is what Schottenheimer's talking about. But 9 years in, this will be his 10th season. What is he, 32 years old, something like that? Been to the playoffs, all of that. Got the big money a few times, like has faced pressure. He is what he is. You can improve a little. Look, I know people think I have it in for the Cowboys coach because I just tell the truth about him, all right? But I
like
don't.
Me with the Ravens. You're called a hater when you're just a truth teller.
I'm going to be fair to Jerry Jones. This was entertainment. This is him entertaining the fans. I was on with Danny Parkins earlier on The Herd, and he showed a clip where Jerry had said, it's a soap opera in Dallas 365 days a year. This was just more entertainment, more drama, more getting everybody in a lather about when they're going to sign Micah. And I say that largely because he also was on another radio show yesterday. And he said that because you could look at this as he keeps trolling Micah.
Yeah,
like, why is he taking these little shots? Yeah. But he also said Micah on this radio show, Micah might be the most talented player we've ever had. He did mention Deion, but those are only two. So he's put him right there with Deion. He said he's very talented. He said he's very smart. So clearly he has respect for Micah. So I look at it as a balance, and that's why I think he's entertaining on one hand, and then he also is telling the truth about how good Mike is. I'm going to say this, Nick. The thing that raised my eyebrows yesterday, or it really came out today, I have been reading that Micah wants $200 million over 5 years. And that obviously would go up because that's only $40 million a year. The price has gone up with TJ Watt's deal. But today in the Dallas Morning News, Calvin Watkins wrote he wants $200 million over 4 years. He said the contract could get up to that high. Now, obviously, he knows he's not getting $50 million, but I bet you they're thinking we'll meet around 45-ish.
Oh, I don't think he's going to get 45. I think he's going to get a tiny bit more than TJ Watt.
I'm just saying, I think that, because remember when Stephen Jones said yesterday, we want to sign Micah, we want to pay Micah, he has to want to be paid. To me, that's Stephen Jones saying, you know, he has to come to a realistic number. I mean, he's got this unrealistic thing out there. I would imagine Micah and his agent do want to put a little distance between him and TJ Watt, because he probably doesn't want to be the highest paid just for a month, just for even this season, but, you know, put it out there for a couple seasons. So that gave me pause, and that shows me that's probably why this thing hadn't gotten done. Maybe Micah wants more than Jerry, you know, more than TJ Watt by far. Bravo.
Oh.
Because the whole post was really, I mean, he went through, Coach, the past few years of last season, reaching out to Jerry, trying to renegotiate. Fine. Okay, you don't want to? I'm fine. He played through it last year. Obviously had the injury, but played. And then this year going to Jerry. And the reason I say bravo is because according to Micah, and this was the reporting from Diana Rossini earlier in the day before Micah released his statement, they feel like Jerry tried to negotiate with Micah by himself without his agent being present. And according to the reports in Micah, Jerry feels like he and Micah made a deal, you know, without the agent, you know, being involved. And then Micah said, my agent will reach out to you. And Jerry and Steven and Dallas has not gotten back to the agent other than Adam, who he mentioned, you know, not Jerry or Stephen Jones. And so I just think that is incredibly underhanded. Like, if this is true, if you are trying to negotiate with a player who obviously doesn't know, even as he might be up to some degree on the rules and the salaries and things like that, that's why a player has an agent, because the agent knows the contracts, the rules, all the small, you know,
the guarantee. All
of that. Like, there's no way a player, unless he wants to, like Lamar Jackson did. I just think that is incredibly underhanded if that's the case. And so I'm glad that Micah has put this on Front Street. Like, now, you know, you hear so many players that have gone through this with the Cowboys, particularly older retired guys, just praise Jerry. It always works out. He pays guys. He pays them more than sometimes they should have gotten and stuff like that. But I'm glad Micah put this out there because, Coach, I feel like Jerry has financial security. The players in many cases don't. Micah's trying to get it. This is his first huge contract. He's trying to get it. And he's trying to get it in a sport where any moment your season or career could end. That's the thing. Micah's he's earned it. He's not getting it. And while Jerry might think, you know, I'm going to pay him in a month or we'll get it taken care of, if that's what he thinks, that's kind of how I feel about him. The players, like, on pins and needles. Like, when am I going to get this done? I want to lock this up because I could step out there in week 1 and get hurt. And so I'm glad Micah put this out there. Now, all that said, I still think the Cowboys will work this out. Maybe this will quicken things. I think it can be worked out. But I think now Jerry is going to have to, he's going to have to acting correctly, in my opinion, to get Micah back on board. And he's going to pay him a huge contract. I still think he'll be a Cowboy, but I'm glad Micah put this out. Well, as far as the relationship, look, I do think Micah's frustrated. I think he's upset. I think he's bothered by the way Jerry's gone about his business. But when he gets that $200 million plus contract and signs it, I think everything will be good. I mean, he still may talk, with some player. Yeah, Jerry, I ain't like the way he did that. What was he? He was tripping, whatever.
$200 million.
But yeah. I mean, overall, it's going to be fine.
A lot of stuff over.
Remember, we saw with Lamar when
Lamar
they looked at other teams. Yeah. So everything is smoothed over. Obviously, it's lovey-dovey there now.
But they never said, real quick, they never said bad things about it.
No, it wasn't like this. It was not this bad. It was not this bad.
Yeah.
But I just think that, remember when Dak said a year ago, you don't really pay attention to what Jerry said. I mean, that's kind of, you could take that to be a real insult. Sure. So I just think it'll be fine. I agree with you. You probably saw me say it Friday. I think it's underhanded to negotiate with a player. Now, do I think they sat down and really talked hard tacks about the contract? No. But I think if Jerry, in the course of some conversation, and Jerry's like, how's $40 million a year sound? And Micah's like, sound good to me. Something like that. And Jerry's thinking they got a deal. Jerry would probably tell you that nothing is a deal until it's signed. And so why is he expecting different from Micah? And I don't know what, agents sometimes have problems with teams. I don't know if Jerry has an issue with his agent or what, but he's one of the most powerful agents in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So I don't get that. But at the end of the day, as I just said about the $200 million contract, this will get done. I do not think Micah's going to be traded. There's not a fiber in my being that thinks he's going to be traded. I do think, like I said, I think he's serious. I think there's a part of him that's sick of it and sure is ready. It would move on if it comes to that. I don't think he's like, I don't want to play for this team at all. Otherwise, why would you be there? Even if it was costing you $50,000 a day. If I was really serious, as like Diana Rossini reported, he's severing ties with the organization. If you're severing ties, I'm out of there. This is just hogwash.
Oh.
This is all hogwash. There are other words.
Uh-oh.
If I cursed, we can't curse on TV, but that you could use.
You also don't curse off TV.
Right, but still, people get the gist of what I'm saying, right? Because this is so disingenuous.
Oh, wow.
You're urgent? How are you urgent to get Micah on the field and get this thing done when you won't call his agent? And even, I watched the whole thing. When Jerry talked about how, he thought they had a handshake deal, him and Micah. Okay, but he also said in the same breath, but I understand that, with players, you have to get it signed on the dotted line and a contract and all that. So which I'm not really buying from Jerry, I do believe there was some conversation and Micah was like, that sounds great, something like that. But even if Jerry sincerely thought they had a deal, we got an agreement. We agreed on $40 million or whatever it was per year. Why wouldn't you go call the agent or have somebody call the agent and settle it? Let's get in here and sign it. Micah said this. Now, I don't think the agent would have done that. But Micah, even if he did agree, obviously does not know the fine print or is not one that should read the fine print and know all the ins and outs of a contract. We have agents, and we got agents that deal with that stuff. So, of course, Micah wants his agent to do it. So don't tell me you're urgent to get this done when you won't even call his agent. And I don't know what the deal is with him and David Mulugheta. Mulugheta's one of the best agents in the league. So I don't know.
Forbes just called him the most powerful guy in the NFL.
I don't understand what in the world is going on. No, he's up there.
I'm just telling you,
he's
the
a top
agent
agent.
in the NFL.
He's a,
Sorry.
Okay.
Forbes called him the
He
most
is a
powerful
great
agent.
agent.
Okay. I like, what the heck?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
probably
just,
not more
it's
powerful
just,
than Goodell.
Yeah,
But yeah.
It's
go ahead.
disingenuous. I think.
Well,
now
so-
look quickly.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
do think it's getting done.
Probably.
But I think, I'm probably. But Jerry does seem dug in. And the fact of the matter is this: as much as I hope Micah gets his deal,
Micah doesn't have a lot of
because of the
leverage.
rule. Yeah, the rules are what they are. He can't sit out. We can talk about that. He can't sit out the whole season. Thank you, Jerry. I mean, this is just confirmation for what I've been saying for the last 6-7 years.
Wow, 6-7 years.
Because remember,
Right.
I had the radio show, The Odd Couple, before I joined
What
you.
do you have, 5 to 7?
Yes.
no, 6 to 9.
6 to 9.
Yeah,
6
7
to
to 10 actually.
7
But
6 to 9
and I've
Central.
actually
I'm a
used
Central Time guy.
I used the term soap opera. Like, this is just proof that Jerry does not view the Cowboys primarily as a football franchise. They are primarily an entertainment enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before, but we've all gone to see great movies that are sports-based, but they're really not about the sports. They're about the love story or
Tin
whatever.
Cup.
Yeah, I wasn't the first that came to mind, but Love and Basketball or something like that. Where it's a Bull Durham.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Bull Durham wasn't about baseball. It was about the love. So the Cowboys are a drama, a controversy in a football setting. That's what they are. And that is great for the bottom line. It's great for business. And that's why the Cowboys, despite having not won a Super Bowl in the last 30 years, are the highest valued franchise in American sports. Baseball, basketball, they are the highest. And so it's great for that, but it's terrible for football because it creates distractions. What coaches don't want are unnecessary distractions. And that's what Jerry is constantly creating. Look at all the great winners, the Chiefs now, the Patriots, the Steelers in the NFL, whether it's the Lakers or some team in the Spurs in the NBA. Like, if there might be drama, but it's drama based on the game. When Shaq and Kobe had their drama, it hurt the team.
They
like,
weren't
right?
Yep.
And so this is he just summed up what he and they are all about. And it's great for money, but it's terrible if you want to win Super Bowls.
So, Brou, do you think there's a part of this that Jerry is enjoying not being Micah?
Yes. Oh, yes. No question about it. I mean, he said as much we talked about in the first segment. Like, this is a soap opera, his words. If no attention is being paid to us, I will stir something up. That's what this. If Micah were signed, we would not be paying much attention to the Cowboys. I mean, if they're the Cowboys, we'll talk about them a little bit, but they would be behind Philadelphia, Washington. The Giants are looking pretty good. Like, we wouldn't really be talking about them, but now we are. So I think Jerry is enjoying this, which makes me think he's going to pay him, before the season starts.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.